Hey everyone, this is Jairo Morales from The Grind Fitness and welcome to my channel. On this channel, you're going to learn how to take care of your body while we do this wonderful sport called Jiu-Jitsu. Everything from joint strength training classes to mobility classes, as well as yoga and many other professionals to teach you what is the best path for you and your Jiu-Jitsu journey. If you haven't already, please do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. You know what to do. Share this with somebody if you think this might help the community to be able to take care of their body for their journey on Jiu-Jitsu. Oos, guys. Hope to see you on the mat.
Hey, what's up, guys and gals? Welcome to another Recovery Sunday with Wellness for Jiu-Jitsu. This is our weekly donation-based yoga class that we do every Sunday at 6 with Wellness for Jiu-Jitsu. You can find it both on the Facebook page and also on the YouTube account. So make sure you save those links and mark your calendars so you can join us here every week. And if it's your first time, my name's Tyler, Submission Yogi. And I'm here to share with you what I love, yoga, specifically for grapplers like myself. And I want to help you to train more jiu-jitsu and to feel good in your body. And recovery is key. So that's the focus here. Take a second, if you don't mind, click the like button, maybe share it on your page, leave us a comment, maybe afterwards, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with all of our other content as well. We really appreciate it. And of course, links for donations can be found at the bottom. Anyways, today our focus is going to be forward folds. We'll get right into some movement and I'll talk about the benefits of these types of poses. They should feel good first and foremost. So that starts with having good, proper posture as we move into these poses. So we're going to be talking about that kind of alignment and how to fold forward in a nice, comfortable way. But let's start off with a little bit of movement here. Work your way into a tabletop, all fours, hands and knees, and just find some nice alignment, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, and then move around. I really invite you to have some fun in this position and get a little creative. There's lots of different options for how you can move. The traditional cat-cow arching and rounding your spine are really nice just to warm up those movements. Don't need to do anything too strenuous. Just nice, easy, have some fun. You can go side to side. You can even move your spine like a jump rope. Let's make sure we have audio here. I'm getting a text message, so I want to make sure. Unmute. You're good. Okay, we're good. Sorry, just checking. So hopefully you didn't miss too much of my audio here, but we're just in tabletop, getting some nice movement, maybe rocking forward and backwards, maybe using our spine like a jump rope. You can bring some weight into your wrists. You can roll out your neck in this position, move your shoulders side to side, bring it into your hips by sitting back. Just take a couple more minutes here to play around. Maybe straightening one leg and pressing back into that leg, into your foot. And as we're moving here, as we're, bringing our mind from our normal day, whatever we're doing, bringing it onto the mat. Let your body move with that breath. You should feel good, exploring. bit. Feel free to stay in your flow a little bit if you want. And if you're ready to move on, join me. We're going to move to a lunge. So I'm going to step my right foot in between my hands, do whatever you need to get it there, and then adjust the back leg. Check your spacing so your feet and your front leg and back leg are in the same line. They're about hip width apart. You feel nice and stable there. Lift and spread your front toes and just sink your hips low. Check your spine. Make sure you're not hunching and rounding too much. Keep that spine nice and straight. The more you adjust your back knee backwards, the deeper that stretch into your hip is going to be. Find something that feels nice for you. You can be on your fingertips, knuckles, or hands. And once we sink into this lunge, take a couple breaths there. We're going to bring the stretch into our hamstring by straightening the front leg and just gently leaning forward over that leg. Once it's straight, you should feel a nice stretch. Pay attention to your spine here. It's easy to round a lot. Try to keep that chest leading, shoulders drawing back. Rock back forward into the lunge. Moving back and forth. Straightening the right leg. Leaning back and gently stretching. Nothing too intense here. We're just warming up those muscles. Maybe moving with your breath. Inhale as you come forward. And then exhale as you sink your hips back. Lift your front toes. 2 more. Make it light and easy. Plant your hands and move back to a tabletop. And bring your left leg forward. Same thing. Sink into that lunge for a few breaths. Check your alignment. Should feel a nice sensation in your hips. Pressing the top of your back foot into the mat. And then sinking your hips back. Straightening your left leg. Lift those toes back. The more you pull your toes back, the more you turn on the back of your leg. Feel how that feels. And then begin to rock forward and backwards. One of the main things for alignment for forward folds, we talk about our pelvic tilt. So let's try this one time. Come back into this stretch and then rise all the way up. Put your hands on your waist and see if you can tuck your tailbone under and then stick your tailbone back. Like you're tilting your pelvis forward and backward, and feel how that plays with the sensation in that front leg. So as we stick our hips, our tailbone back and tilt our pelvis forward, it really tightens up the hamstring. And as I tuck my tailbone under, it allows my lower back to remain a lot more stable, and that's what we want to fold forward with. So tuck your tailbone and then start to tip forward, and you should tilt forward with a straighter spine, and then the engagement comes into the leg. We're going to address that same principle in some other positions. Do a couple more, moving with your breath, forward and backward in the lunges. Very nice. Should be feeling good, a little bit warmed up. We're going to come into standing, so bring your feet to the mat. Maybe we're already in a forward fold here, rolling all the way up to the stand. Check your feet alignment. Make sure they're in a comfortable position, maybe 4 or 5 inches apart, 3-4 inches apart. Lift and spread your toes. Check in with your pelvis, tuck your tailbone under, wag it back, feel that pelvic tilt, and then lock it with your tailbone down, creating a nice engagement. And then hinge from your hips and bend your knees as you fold forward. Belly hits thighs, knees are bent, back is straight, and then head hangs and falls forward. Take a breath here and just let your back relax. And then roll all the way back up to standing. We're just going to roll through these a couple times, rolling into a gentle forward fold and then rolling back up. Remember, as we pivot, hinge from our hips, the knees bend, belly connects, and then we hang heavy over the legs. And as we roll back up, maybe the legs straighten just a little bit. A couple more times. Folding forward gently until the head hangs, hands can hang, rolling back up. Try to lift your toes, find that little bit of leg engagement. This time when we fold forward, we'll stay down in that fold for a couple breaths. Maybe reaching and grabbing your opposite elbows. Just let the belly hang heavy on the legs, on tops of the thighs. And then let's try to straighten just a little bit each leg, one at a time. Begin to bring that stretch into the hamstrings. And staying in this forward fold, we're going to work our way down into a squat. So put your hands on the mat, bend your knees so that you can put your hands on the mat. Step your feet a little bit wider. Turn your toes out just a little bit. And then bring your butt towards the ground as far as you can. If you're up on your toes, no problem. Just in this deep squat. And then we're going to lift our hips all the way back up to the sky and drop our head. Turn our feet back forward. I like to squat on an inhale. Really lift my chest back straight. And then exhale, lift my hips, drop my head. Inhale, squat. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, toes out, squat. Exhale, drop your head, lift your hips. Very nice. All right, let's roll all the way back up to a stand. How are your legs feeling? Maybe they're feeling a little bit looser. Hips are feeling a little bit looser. We're going to get a little bit more into our hips by doing a wide-legged standing forward fold. Walk your legs out to the sides. Check that they're in a straight line. Maybe press your hips forward, pushing your hands into your back. Little counter pose here. And then lift your toes. That helps keep your weight back a little bit. And let's go down halfway, hinging from the hips. Hands to the mat. Look forward, straighten your spine. Take a breath. And on your next exhale, begin to drop your head down. Your hands can help pull your chest down a little bit. Just feel that stretch in the back of your legs. Take a couple nice big deep breaths. Relax your neck. Let your head hang heavy. Lift your toes. Spread your toes. Halfway up. weight to our butt, however you want to get there. I'm going to go back down into this halfway forward fold, jump back into the squat, down here for a second, and then butt to the mat. Let's stay with that wide leg pose. Keep our legs wide. We're not going to fold forward here just yet. We're just going to feel how our pelvis like sitting straight up, nice straight spine, drawing toes back towards the shin. Flex, and then don't need to over exaggerate it. Okay, any better now? Any better? Good. Okay. Apologies, guys. That's what we got to deal with sometimes. Hopefully you're still feeling good. Didn't pull you out of your flow too much. We're sitting here in this nice wide-legged position, sitting up nice and straight, just feeling how our pelvis and the back of our legs feel as we draw those toes back towards us, a little flex in the feet. Sitting up nice and straight here. Maybe you're using your hands for support. A lot of times, just sitting here with nice posture is actually a stretch for the legs. And we're going to move from here to grabbing the inside of your knees and bringing your feet to touch in front of you into this butterfly pose. Another spot that we like to fold forward from, but for now we're just going to sit up nice and straight. Feel the pelvis, feel the low back. And then from here, legs straight out in front of us. I'm going to turn, you can stay. Probably stay with your mat this whole time. But legs nice and straight. Sitting up nice and straight. Your big toes, the big toe mounds can touch. Pressing your feet together, drawing toes back. Staff pose, hands by your side. Press your spine up nice and straight. And then we'll move into our first seated forward fold here after a couple breaths. And we're going to think about that pelvic position as we tilt forward. So we're not pulling into the lower back. We're keeping our spine straight, hinging from the hips until we feel the engagement in the back of the legs. Doing that really helps to avoid rounding first and then pulling on the lower back, where we might stretch our hamstrings, but we end up overstretching and hurting our low back. So by keeping our spine nice and straight and leading with the chest, we can keep that stretch more balanced in our legs and then up and through the back. One nice trick I really like to do this is bending knees in this pose and doing that same belly connection that we did in the standing forward fold. And as I make that nice strong connection, maybe I even reach and grab behind my legs. Now I'm feeling a good connection and a straight spine as I begin to maybe straighten my legs a little bit, or maybe just sit here in this bent leg forward fold. Nice straight spine. Find something that feels good for the back of your legs. And take 3 more nice big deep breaths here. Once you've found that tension, you can relax the shoulders and the head. It can hang. The back can even round a little bit, but not until after we find that connection with our hamstrings. coming up nice and slow. You can try this same thing, bending your legs, this time going a little bit deeper if you're ready for it. If that was intense enough, feel free to stay with that knee grip, but this time grabbing my toes with bent legs and then slowly straightening them. My belly is connected to my thighs, chest is lifting until I find that place of good stretch in the back of my legs. And then relax and breathe into that stretch. Spread it out evenly across your back. Avoid any pinching in the low back. Most important. One more big deep breath. Maybe go a little bit deeper on the exhale. And nice and slow, roll all the way back up. Do my favorite forward fold. This is a one-legged forward fold. These are poses, these forward folds that we can spend a lot of time in. If we're not going too deep into the stretch, this is a yin type pose that we can really spend a long time in. So just connecting right foot to the inside of your left thigh, as close to your pelvis as feels good for you. Give yourself a little hip opener, opening that right knee up to the left, and then facing your straight leg, folding straight forward, hinging at the hips, leading with the chest. Feel that stretch come into the back of the leg. Stay out of the lower back as much as you can, and then gently round the upper back and let the head hang. We can make a connection with our foot or just hands to the leg here. And let's take 3 big deep breaths. And I say try to stay out of the lower back because that tends to be the place that we're really cranking on in some of these forward folds. A lot of the time we're really going to do more benefit to our body by stretching the hamstring, that big muscle in the back of our legs. And that in turn will help our lower back to release. Now in this one-legged forward fold, my back right side, the folded leg side, lower right back is a good target. It's the quadratus laborum. So I'm stretching the back of that left leg, but I'm also working into that right side of my lower back gently with the breath. Letting gravity do most of the work. If you do feel that pulling, you can come halfway out, recenter your spine, recenter your hips, hinge with that straight spine. And maybe when you do that, you come a little bit deeper. But depth is not the goal. The goal is time. So we have a short class today, so I'm showing you these stretches so that you can spend more time on them on your own as well. I'm not doing a full yin class today. But we'll balance it out and do the left side as the right leg as well. So straighten both of your legs. Maybe you shake them out a little bit. Left foot to the inner right thigh. Sit up nice and tall, nice and straight. Flex your right foot back towards your shin. Face that straight leg. Let your hip open up and then hinging from the hips, leading with your chest. Hope I'm not getting too repetitive. Find the stretch in the back of your right leg and then allow your back to relax. And just let gravity and your breath do the work here. Coming out of that one-legged seated forward fold, nice and slow. Straighten both of your legs. And then bend your legs, look behind you, make sure you have enough space so you can roll backwards. We're grabbing the back of our knees or shins, and we're going to move to a rock and roll. So keep that tailbone tucked and roll onto your back. Try to make that first drop slow and controlled if you can. Takes a little bit of core strength, a little bit of ab muscles. Find a way to rock and roll along your spine. It's a nice little massage. And after a couple more, just land nice and easy on your back. And we're going to do a couple counter poses here. It's a little bit of a back bend, but more of a strengthening back bend. So place your heels right at your fingertips when your arms are straight, a little wider than hips. And we're going for bridge here. So as you press your feet down into the mat, let your hips rise, lift up off of the mat. Once your hips get up high enough, walk your shoulder blades underneath, and you can even lift your chest, squeezing your glutes and breathing. Big deep breaths in this gentle back bend. Hold it for a couple breaths and then let it go. Hips back down. And do that again, or if you want to add a little bit more depth, a little more intensity, I like to grab my ankles, and it just creates a connection as I lift my hips. Allows my shoulder blades to draw under even further. Chest lifts, hips lift. Try not to let your knees flare out too much to the side. Keep them straight. Let that go. Relax for a breath. And then one more time. Nice little back bend. If you're a stellar yogi, you can go up into some deeper back bends. Wheel pose or something here if it feels good for you. You can even interlace your fingers underneath your back to get a little wrist stretch. Just trying to tuck those shoulder blades further under. Excellent. Let it go. And we're going to do our last pose here. I hope I'm not too much over time with our technical issues and a little bit of a late start. We're still doing good. So first, hugging knees in towards your chest. Check in with your pelvic tilt. You'll feel as your knees come up, your pelvic tilts and your tailbone lifts up off the mat. Try to avoid that and press that tailbone down into the mat, and then hug your knees so you can feel the stretch in the hamstrings, the back of the legs, the outsides of the hips without pulling, torquing on the low back. I know I'm being a bit redundant, but it's real important. And if we want to take it a step further, bring your feet up towards the ceiling like you're standing on the ceiling. Happy baby. Grabbing your shins, ankles, or maybe the outside of your feet, and just pulling those knees down towards your shoulders, towards your armpits as you press the tailbone into the mat. Don't let that tailbone round too much. Keep it pressed down. This might not seem like a forward fold, but it's got the same principles. And we're doing it with a far more straight spine than we usually fold forward with. Let the weight and strength of the arms pull on the hamstrings as the core presses the tailbone down. And then relax the belly and fill it with air on each breath. Anytime that's too intense, go back to the knee hug. And then at the end of every yoga practice, it's really nice to get as comfortable as you possibly can, laying on your back. Kick your feet out a little wider than your mat. Let your toes drop out to the side. Arms kind of do the same thing, out to the sides. Walk your shoulder blades under. Shavasana pose, corpse pose. The death of your practice. Just lay here like you're dead. Don't need to do anything special. Maybe observe your breath, your body. Stay here in this pose, in stillness for as long as you can. Say minimum 2 minutes, maximum 8 hours. If you sleep, that's okay. When you're ready to get up, turn onto your side, come all the way up. I hope you're staying there. It's real important. It's the best part of your class. So I hope you enjoyed this forward fold class with Wellness for Jiu-Jitsu, Submission Yogi, Recovery Sunday. I got nothing else. Click the buttons, show us some love. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Oos.